Men bare kom an.
Innen 2 år, hvis den blir ødelagt
Det er dårlig kjøring.
en ny hva betaler du for det? 1000 kroner. Ja, det er et år og 10 måneder.
Men hvordan får jeg den til å sende direkte i eventen? Ja, det er spørsmålet.
Men så sparer jeg ikke. Ja, tror jeg det.
Mange klasser bytte ut den.
Ja.
Det er bare skrittet når det gjelder å gjøre Facebook.
Nei, men du må bare... Hvis du bare søker meg, da har du det rett til deg. Det skriver vi sammen. Ja, men ta den. Jo.
Så vi kan ikke liksom skru den på offentligheten da? På en annen måte.
Jeg vet ikke, det er klart. Nei, jeg stiller meg spørsmål. Uforstående.
Dear members of SBIO, welcome to the Spring General Assembly. My name is Julia Gulstad-Mårud, and I'm the chairman of SBIO. We will do 2 short agenda items to begin with, and that will be approval of notice and agenda, also of the chairman, secretary, counters, and persons who sign the protocol. Are there any objections to the given agenda? And before you say yes or no, I would like to add that there will be 2 points on optional if you approve, of which goes for the further elections of which will occur in the management. Any objections to adding those? No? Okay, so then the agenda is approved. As it goes for the nominations, we will have Jørgen Wold-Komstad as the chairman, secretary Åsne, vote counters Ine Sofie, Nikolai, Emilia, and Daniel. In addition, we're proposing Linny, which is the head of digital, which will be handling the online election system. We have Emil Lundahl to sign the protocol, in addition to Pernille. Any objections?
I think Nikolai's last name is wrong, but is his best place to say it himself.
Oh yeah, my last name.
Okay, so we will approve the agenda with your correct last name. All right? Okay. There we go.
Hello, do everyone hear me okay? Do I need the microphone, or let me know if you don't understand me? Hi, my name is Jørgen Wold-Komstad. Thank you for the vote of confidence, or you didn't vote me in, but there weren't any objections. The last time I spoke English for a big crowd like this was at a banquet, and then I had a couple of beers before I spoke, so please let me know if I say something you don't understand or anything like that. We are gonna continue with we are going to check that everyone who has registered are here. So I'm gonna say the project or where you come from, and when you do hear your organization or committee, project, whatever, you raise your voting page or sign or whatever. Bergensbaneløpet, Bay Finance, Bay International Case Competition, Bay Outdoor, Bay Siviløkonomi, Bay Revy, Bilutvalget, Business Society, Børsgruppen-aktige, Creative Industry Management, Dataanalytisk utvalg, Eiendomsutvalget, Entreprenørskap, 2, Fadderullag, Gourmetlaget, Hytteutvalget, INSA, Inspire, Karadaga Logistic Society. Makroøkonomisk utvalg. Markedsavdelinga. Næringslivsutvalget. Private Equity Investment Banking. SBIO Accounting. SBIO Analytics. Bar Society. Case Club. Human Resources. Det var det. Invest. Media. Politics. Shipping-utvalget. Startpay. Stern Extreme. Strategic Marketing Association. Introduction. Watch Society. X-Base. Økonomi og forretningshus. 2. BBA. Only one. Siviløkonomer. Det var allerede sagt, beklager. Eiendomsmeglerstyret. 2. Markedsføringsledelse. 2. Regnskap og revisjon. 2. Økonomi og administrasjon. 4. Business Psychology Association. International Marketing. PR og markedskommunikasjon. Vass. Og det var vel det. Is there someone who are voting tonight and has not heard their organization being called out? No. Then we are done with the most boring subject of the evening. Test run. Yeah, tonight we're going to use the electronic voting system. You should all have been sent a mail with the instruction. So you can log in or install. Yeah, you just have to log in. The web page should be in your mail. Yeah. Is there someone who are voting that has not received the email? No. Is there someone you have? You can come down to linear. Is there someone else who has not received the mail or cannot log in? You can also go down to linear. We just have to make sure that everyone who are going to vote has the ability to vote and that the system is working the way it should work. While they are sorting out the system, I can tell you guys a little bit about myself. I'm a third-year student at SBIO, to use the English name or the Norwegian name, I don't know. I have sat in this General Assembly myself once long ago. And I know that this night can be a bit long, not as bad as the other GA, but I hope to make the evening as quick as possible. It's scary to say that because then it will take forever, but I will try to guide you guys all right through the agenda. And you can use this, or it might seem like we are ready. Are everyone logged in? If not, do it. If you guys are bored now, you can start by looking at the protocol that was sent out with the agenda, so you can just prepare to that agenda point. Yes. Then I think we are going to start on the approval of the protocol from last General Assembly. Have everyone read the protocol? I'm sure you all have read every word and are completely secure on what we're talking on now. So I'm going to ask you guys, is there any objections to the last protocol? Then you can take your sign up. There's none. Then I will suggest that we approve the protocol. Is anyone against that? No. Then the protocol is approved. But I would want club or something just to make it more of a statement. But we could do something that will be a little activity. Each time we vote on something, we can, and I say the vote is over, we can clap one time. And then hopefully at the same time, because else it will just sound weird. So we can practice. And I say 3, we all clap. 1, 2. Yeah, we can get better. Yes. Just waiting for the last one to get into the system. Good. Our last General Assembly, the academic association sat on one side and the other one sat on the other side. Is that not the rule anymore? Because now it's not a rule anymore. No. It's been a long time since I see a sat at a chairman table and have not get used to that the crowd doesn't respond when I ask them questions. And I've also become aware that all the lecturers have to have terrible neck pains because you sit like this all the time. I've said it for 15 minutes and already I feel like it's good. Okay. 4 people. Okay, everyone who has voted, can you raise your hand? I don't know why I asked that question. It doesn't help me anything. And there's nobody who there's nobody who has a problem with logging in. You have a problem with?
I don't have a problem, but it just says I'm already it, so.
Okay, then you have probably already voted. You have voted.
Men du kan inte logga in på nytt. Det är det som är, man kan inte komma sig in efter man har fått benämningen till samma.
Okay, can you just come down here to the end and is Mark?
Jo, men jag har redan
Alltså var det de
Ja, det är så. Det var väldigt
Everyone should be in the system. So we're just going to proceed on the agenda. Yeah, then we're going to the agenda point number 4, report from the board.
All right. Yeah.
You have minutes? Any more?
Nope. All right. So I'm assuming that all of you read our written orientation. So I'll do a fairly quick one. Since the Autumn General Assembly of 2017, we've conducted 4 board meetings. We have approved the budget of Fadderland and Karrieredagene, where both of the projects had thorough and reasonable budgets. In addition, we worked fairly closely with our sister organization, BIS, which you will hear more about later on. And we've also consulted and approved the strategy set by the management. Our businesses reports have been in the written agenda, so I would like to ask if there's any questions to the overall orientation or to the company.
If you have a question, you can raise your sign, and then I will give the word out. Is there any question? No.
Thank you.
Then we just go on to agenda point number 5. Announcement. Do you want all of you to come up or? Okay.
Dear members, we're going to keep the oral orientation short. Therefore, I hope that everyone has read the management report, the attached management report. It contains important information regarding our big or small wins, significant events, media log, and changes regarding units. If you haven't, I recommend that you do. Over the last few months, we've learned a lot and worked with various different areas and projects. During this short orientation, each of the management members will present a brief overview of the first quarter. Thank you.
So I have been working on improving our relationship with the other institutions, and I have regular meetings with the Student Welfare Council, as well as the University of Oslo Met, and other institutions represented in the Welfare Council. This has given good results, and my biggest win is that the Student Welfare Council have decided that all students in Oslo, no matter what institution they belong to, shall pay the same amount for a membership as USFK. I also work with the National Student Organization, and together with other delegates, we represent SBIO at the national meeting last weekend.
For my part, my semester has mostly revolved around improving our guidelines, the SBIO framework, which I hope you all have read. Renewing and extending our contract with 24/7 Office, the accounting and CRM system that SBIO uses. We have gotten digital signing with a company called Teneo, and I have ordered new and improved bags for Study Start. In addition to this, we have created a new staff function called SBIO Outreach. That is the former CRM group. We created this as a separate unit to coordinate our external contact with greater transparency. Furthermore, both my existing staff functions, Markedsavdelingen and Næringslivsutvalget, has improved a lot in different areas. Markedsavdelingen has improved greatly in the social aspect to lay the foundation of further improvement. Næringslivsutvalget has begun an extensive strategic and organizational change process, which you will see the results of already the coming semester. Thank you.
Yes, the head of academic relations in the academic association has been granted permission and access to course evaluations for their programs for BI. This has previously been difficult. Furthermore, head of academic relations in the academic associations are now prioritized in BI's dialogue with student representatives for interaction between the students and the bachelor administration and the associate dean at BI. This is a big win because previously class representatives were the ones that were prioritized.
Since the beginning of the semester, there has been a lot of activity from the academic associations. I've accounted for more than 17 events in total, which shows that our academic associations are as hardworking and ambitious as ever. In addition to this, I have conducted individual conversations with all presidents. I have hosted president's meeting and master president's meeting, as well as our president's cabin trip and the Olympic Games of the association. I've also spent a lot of time on the further development of X-Space and DSS.
Yes. So far this semester, we have held 4 meetings for the project managers. We're also getting new project, the SBIO Goal. And 5 out of the 8 projects has now been held, so we are now trying to continue to finish all the new boards.
Sorry about my voice, but I'm what is called pottetett. So, use the microphone. So far this semester has been very good. We have had 4 society leader meetings where we have discussed different workshops and cases, and also the leaders have been active in the different topics as well as other discussions. The societies, the activity levels has been good, and I hope this continues throughout the year.
My orientation will be in the next agenda, please.
First, can I just see with the voting sound how many has read the written orientation? Good. Do any of you have any questions for the oral or written orientation? Then you can ask them now or send us an email at any time.
This is a question to Åsne. You said that the head of academic relations have been granted access to the course evaluations, but the IM head of academic relations has not. So
Yes, they are not ready yet this semester. So it will come, but the head of academic relations in the academic associations, really long word. Traditionally, we have not been able to see that because SBI hasn't permitted us, but this year or this semester, that will happen. So the course evaluations are not done yet, so I have to sit down first with the responsible and then go through, and then I can show it to my head of academics. Yeah.
thank you.
Have any more questions? Sit down. You can applause for as well. You can just start with financial.
Yes. So it's generally custom to approve the financial statements for the previous year during this General Assembly, but unfortunately, it has not been finalized yet, so we will send it out together with the protocol later on in May. So I thought I would talk to you a little bit about routines that we've started implementing and that we will work on towards the summer. As many of you have probably been informed and had the pleasure of meeting, is the internal controllers from SBIO Accounting. They are there to help all financial managers and as well as the boards to ensure a better financial stability. And they will also ensure that everyone gets more thorough follow-ups. We've currently started working with a new budget template, which we hope will allow everyone to have a better understanding as to how we allocate the funds throughout the years. So I'm hoping within 2018 that everyone will feel a lot more confident with their numbers and have a better understanding as how they should best allocate the funds throughout the year. And that will allow us also to work a lot more closely within the year. Furthermore, during the summer, we'll develop more routines and regulations that will be sent out in the beginning of next semester. And hopefully by that time, we will also have the new accounting clients up and running, which will allow us to do all the approving of invoices and reimbursements through that system, so we don't have all the email chains. As well, we will hopefully be able to have a new payment system within 2018, I'm hoping. That is all for now. Would you have anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you.
As the head of finance said, we usually vote over the results, but as there aren't any, we don't have to vote, so we just go to the next agenda point. That is number 7, student union political platform with the leader of SBIO politics and the responsible from the management.
Hello, we are here to present the document that ensures SBIO's political interest when representatives from SBIO is voting on SBIO's behalf. We have this year proposed a complete change to the document, but it's largely based on the previous one. I'll just walk you through the changes. In Article 2.1, we've only reworded and specified already existing articles. In sub-article 2.1.2, we've made some changes to the numbers. In sub-article 2.1.4, we have added the entire sub-article. Sub-article 2.6, we have also added. In sub-article 2.2.2, we've changed from specifying 4,000 residents specifically to just match the 20% goal mentioned in the 2.2.1 article. In Article 2.3, we have just reworded and specified the things that were there. Sub-article 2.4.4, we have added. Sub-article 2.5 is a completely new article. We felt that something important was missing and the document lacked internal political specifications. Osne from the management has worked with us to develop this article. Is there any questions?
Yes, okay. I'm referring to subsection 2.2.5. Student dwellings should not be subject to property tax. My translation. More and more private investors are building dwellings, especially for students. And I don't think we would want private investors to not be subject to property tax. So I think, are you here referring to just student dwellings built by student organizations or dwellings for students in general?
It's in general.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the points that were there from the previous document, so we just kept it.
We can start a debate on this point, but there are one suggestion to the voting. As I see it, if the General Assembly can vote for this platform, or else the old one still exists. There aren't changes in one part of the document, it's a whole new document. That is the two different possibilities here. Is there anyone who wants to speak in the debate? You can start the debate.
Okay, I just saw this, so I just have to improvise an amendment. But if the General Assembly wants and accepts it, I think the amendment should be as follows. Student housing built or managed by not-for-profit organizations should not be subject to property tax. This is just to ensure that private investors and for-profit organizations will not be subject to property tax. I don't think we would want private investors earning even more from student housing and students already limited funds. Thank you.
You have none, but you can.
Yeah, can I just ask you a question? Is there a housing shortage in Oslo for students?
Sorry?
Is there a housing shortage for students?
Absolutely.
You know, so-
Most important.
From what I understand, at least in a welfare state, there tends to be tax incentivization for things that maximize student welfare. So I believe an increase of supply of student housing would decrease the price in the long run. So if the government sees fit and we see fit, I think an increased supply of student housing will help students in the long run. And it might help private investors, but I think that we can amend the document later point in time until the shortage is rectified. So I disagree strongly with the report. I think tax incentivization is crucial, as Norway has done multiple times with its concession laws for its hydropower and for its oil and gas industry. It's crucial to have welfare development and also economic development.
Yes.
Both.
In that, first you, and then, in you.
Also, housing developers earn more money on the more expensive apartments. Therefore, I believe there's a point in making sure that they get money to earn in the less expensive housing developments. So I strongly agree with the new, with the 2.2.
Didn't see any replies there. You can have your comment.
I just want to add to what Tina just said, the shortage of housing in Oslo is a big problem right now. The most important thing that we get, that the students have somewhere to live, and I think that's the most important thing that I want you to focus on. And that would help us a lot for us that are focused and are doing this. Yeah, I strongly recommend you to go for this document.
Is there anyone else who wants to say anything in this debate? There is not. Okay, no?
Can I just ask them for the opinion of the management on this proposal? Is it Pia's opinion? President, can you do that?
Reply?
Yeah, I think we haven't discussed all the different points.
You're a former head of politics, so.
Yeah, but I support the 2.5. Absolutely.
Yes. Then you can stand. We can then go to the vote. So I would ask everyone who has the ability to vote tonight, take your voting sheet and be ready to vote when I tell you to. I'm gonna first, we have one suggestion here. So I'm gonna ask if for those of you who support the suggestion to raise your hand first, those who are against the suggestion afterwards, and those who have not made up your mind at the end. Is there a question?
Which suggestion, the one made by the management or the one made by the comment?
There is only one suggestion. It's the new platform. That's the one suggestion here tonight.
As Christoph said, could we add an addendum? Can we vote on that, like vote in this platform, but also vote in the addendum?
You just have to ask control committee. Eller? Endringsmulighet. So, if the General Assembly wants to change, okay.
I just want to say that the same point is on both the documents. So either you vote for or against, the point goes down.
Okay, so there's no change in this this line. It's a part of the old one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But the General Assembly could come up with a new suggestion under a meeting. And the General Assembly decides what's happened here tonight. So you decide what to do. So if over 50% of the General Assembly wants to change this suggestion or try to change it, you can do that. Does the General Assembly want to open this possibility to change this platform suggested by politics suggested by SBIO politics. Those who are for this possibility to change the platform, this suggestion for a new platform, want to change this suggestion, can raise their voting sheets now. Okay. You don't understand what we're voting for, so okay, I understand that. We are not voting if we want a new platform yet. We are now voting for the possibility to change this suggestion, to make changes in this new platform. Har vi klart på norsk? For dere som forstår det. Nå stemmer vi ikke om vi skal ha den nye plattformen. Nå bestemmer vi stemmer over hvordan den nye plattformen skal se ut. Altså vi åpner for muligheten til å sende inn forslag til det forslaget som ligger her. Det blir litt meta, men det er altså vi skal åpne muligheten for at noen kan sende inn forslag til å endre punkter i det nye forslaget.
Altså da for eksempel Facebook.
Yeah. Does the General Assembly understand what we're going to do now? Yeah, I hope most of you do. Do the General Assembly want to open the possibility to change this proposed platform? Up with your hands.
Yes or no?
Yes. No. Those against opening the possibility? And the suggestion to open the possibility has fallen. Then we're going to ask the General Assembly if you want to approve this new platform. Are you ready? Those for the new platform, raise your hand. I can say yes. Those who say yes to this. And no. And those of you who have not made up your mind, then the new platform is approved. Yeah. Then we can have 1, 2. Much better. Okay. This is so much fun. Okay, we're just gonna go on to the next course. That is within the point. It's number 9, adjustment of the BI student welfare contribution membership.
It's a political, I think it's
statutory. Oh, sorry. I'm jumping ahead. Yeah. Number 8, proposed changes in the SBIO statutes.
Yeah, the statutes coming up.
Yes. Ready?
Yeah.
So, we propose the following changes, amendments, and additions to the SBIO statutes. The first one is about the statute committee to make the organization more independent and democratic, because the situation now is that the board decides which statutes come in front of the General Assembly. So with those changes, yeah, that's a new statute or a paragraph. To go down. Yeah, so this is more about the surroundings when you deliver the proposed changes to the committee. So it goes from being to the board to the new committee. So you have the next slide. And just definition changes in the statute. Next one. Yeah, this is an addition to the previous paragraph regarding the General Assembly and the counting. And to make sure that nobody with votes can count the votes, we have proposed the addition that it equips in English, I don't know what that is. But, the counters can only be from the board or the control committee. And this, of course, to make sure that, there's no conflict of interest when it comes to the voting arrangements. So next one. This is about the control committee. Until now, there's been a minimum of 3 members, and we don't have one coordinating the group. So we want to make sure that it's in statutes that we have one that, arranges or controls the group in one. Missed it. What's that in English? The impeachment, The impeachment paragraph was removed for 1 or 1.5 years ago because it needed some changes. It wasn't clear enough. It's pretty small. I don't know if people want me to read the whole thing up, or they have read the. Okay. So this is just clear. If it's against anyone in Ledelsen, everything goes through. People come to the control committee, and we give it to the board when the process is gone through. If it's about the board, it will go to the control committee, and we present it directly through you. So, this is just to have the next one. To have a better overview for the over the management, because now they say that they have to give you information to direct it to the General Assembly. But between the General Assembly, there is no clear definition of what goes to the board or who has an overview. So this is an amendment to make sure that there's more overview. This, as you see, for those who know Norwegian, it's been that Ledelsen or the management could subjectively decide what should be accepted by the board or not previously. And we want, and it has to do with the size of the cases. We want big cases in any matter being taken through different, called bigger process. That's, For the control committee, this is under the board. When it comes to the organizational map, we're independent, and we only answer to you, the General Assembly. And in the statute, there's a mistake, and it says contradictory that we are under the board. So we want to remove this and make sure that it's in accordance to the statutes in general. I think that was that. Thank you.
Before we start the debate on these statutes, I would open for questions. Is there anyone who has a question to these suggestions? There is not. Is there anyone who wants to speak in the debate for the statutes? There are, because this is the possibility. This possibility will not come before the next General Assembly and eventual changes being suggested. Okay, I don't mean a debate. Then we are going to go to the voting. Since there aren't anyone who wants to speak in a debate, I would presume that no one is against these changes. So I suggest that we take all the suggestions in vote. If anyone is against that, you have to raise your cheeks now. No one is against that, then we'll take all of the, how many suggestions? 8 or 9 or? Something like that. I don't have it. Under 1. Everyone who is for these changes can show it by raising your hand. Yes, also. Those against? And those who have not made up your mind? And all the changes has been voted in. 1, 2. Really good. Yes. Then the next agenda point is adjustment of BI.
So just to give some context here, to get right on into it, we've been paying about 200 kroner per semester for our contribution to student welfare at BI. We've done something, I would say, that's a bit, putting it politely, naive and more rudely stupid. We have not adjusted it for inflation since God knows when. So essentially what has happened is that in our most conservative estimate using the SBIO, which is the Norwegian Statistical Organization, the fee should be at 260. If you use inflation and education costs, that should be 320. So essentially our proposition at this point in time is 300 kroner. So just to give some more effective kinds of student welfare contribution per person, with the inflation case, the most conservative case, and also the growth of the student union from about 50 sub-organs to about 66, you're looking at about an effective student welfare contribution of 50% compared to when it was initially set out. So every single year, the student union has been getting poorer, and the student welfare offering has been increasing with additional activities. As such, we think that the 300 kroner contribution will be reasonable and also the cheapest in Norway and also comparable to our biz partner schools. So please pass the contribution. Thank you.
Is there any question to this? No. Okay. One question to 8 and 1,038.
Okay, the reasoning here is that it should be adjusted because it has not been adjusted to inflation.
It has not been adjusted for inflation, and the union has grown, and also we have extraordinary organizational costs which are occurring from the fission of SBI athletics. And at this point in time, this actual adjustment will not be comparable to the 200 kroner. We will still be in real terms poorer than we are when we set up the 200 kroner.
Does the board and management have some clear plans and thoughts on where to use this adjusted?
I can clarify that if you would like. 75 kroner is going to go directly to BI Athletics, and that way we'll be able to completely circumvent paying for anything. So since they're separating from us, we will do a direct cash payout to them, and as such, the entire union will not have to pay for any kind of athletic activity in and of itself. So BI Athletics will be independent in that way. The rest of the 25 kroner will be going to other additional costs for the management's budget and also to the greater union, and that's it pretty much. It's just trying to cover costs. Go ahead.
So then just to be clear, that every member of the student union will actually pay a contribution to BI Athletics?
Every student member will not pay a contribution to BI Athletics in that explicit way and form. Let me be very, very clear about it. So everyone will not pay a direct contribution to BI Athletics. BI has set up a mandate as follows, is that SBIO has the opportunity to either take the money that we have and redistribute it to BI Athletics, or to separate the financing and then paying directly to BI Athletics and then directly to us. That'll significantly decrease the amount of money. So as such, we make the decision, other than them separating from us, and then us getting less money, we increase our local contribution, and that way we ensure that we don't have separate cash flows. So essentially all the money runs through SBIO, which is what BI's wishes. So we don't subsidize BI Athletics more so than we ever did beforehand. We subsidize them less as we did before when there was BIO Athletics. So the fission is actually creating about 500,000 kroner in welfare for the student union and cost reduction.
We can come back to 1,030.
What was the management team vote in the decision?
I think we've consulted with them. So they've asked for more actually. Am I correct? Incorrect, Mr. President?
I think the question is, should SBIO continue to fund in some way or another BI Athletics and the sports societies? Absolutely. That's how we view the question. And The exact amount is up for the board to decide. And this is a way of financing the sports without decreasing funding for SBIO.
Increases funding.
Yeah,
Because we
we'll
don't
also
pay for them.
increase funding with the last 25 donors at the top.
And also the fact that you don't pay for the 75, which you used to pay for.
Then a comment from 1043.
Yes, as I see in the financial report, it's a positive result of 1.7 million.
Yes.
As for now, and as far as I know, the SBIO has never had a negative result for the past years. So the inflation, that's correct, but inflation is also combined with the students' fees to live and yeah, let's pay rent and all that. So if we every year has a positive results, why should we increase the amount of money that we should put in?
Let me establish some context as to why SBIO has a positive result every single year. And I'm sorry, you can go on after that. We have a positive result due to the high risk components of our, essentially our business, the way that we operate. There's a lot of things that can happen, legal cases. I'll just give an example that imagine we were somehow like legally responsible for some significant damage to a boat. Let's say during one of our boat fests. Let's say we messed something up big time. That would be a massive financial expense. We have cabins which we could destroy in a way. We can do significant damage. The union needs to have a very large buffer. So 1.5 million in terms of the aggregate terms is not that much. And most of our head of finances are extremely conservative to ensure that the management and the board and the control committee and other members of the union aren't legally responsible. And if they are in one sense, we have the financial capital to save it. So we don't run like a company and we don't run like a zero, bottom line. We try to have a surplus and then we essentially like, just to give you some essence, the buffer moves forward every year, right? So the money that's left over moves forward and then a new buffer is created. But this buffer is sort of moving across time and you just see it in the P&L because of the accounting. Essentially what we should do is create an account for this money to be directly deposited, but we don't do that because of the liquidity situation in SBIO. Does that make sense?
Yeah, most of the things that you mentioned should be like an insurance kind of thing. I agree with you. The thing, if I as president should talk to all of my students, tell them, okay, you have to pay that amount more, and they say, okay, why? It goes in a positive result every year. It's just like to clarify things for them as well. I can understand we need a buffer.
We need a significant buffer.
Yeah.
Just think about the events that we have, and think of how many students. Like we had 70 events this year, just Kenya. Just think of how much damage could happen. And
of course,
1.7 million
insurance should be a part of that. No insurance at all.
No, no. That's not saying. I'm saying 1.7 million is nothing in the aggregate terms of the student level activity.
Oh no, I get it. Yeah.
2002, then 8.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ask the same question. Has the buffer been shrinking over the past couple of years?
Has the what?
Has the buffer been shrinking over the past couple of years?
No, I wouldn't say that, but I'm not also the head of finance for the last 10 years.
All right. So if it hasn't been shrinking significantly, why did there be this increase?
So that we can have additional activity, because we reduce the amount of subsidy that we give to activities. You understand the amount, in real terms, the amount of money that we give to activities, especially post 2014, has decreased significantly. So when I said there would be a dinner, we would give 250 kroner. Now we'll be giving 150 because we don't have that much more money anymore to hand out, and things are more expensive, our general G&A expenses. So that's you have to separate the buffer from the actual amount of real terms of how much welfare we can give to students, which has been decreasing significantly. And as such, we reduce the budgets every single year, and at least in real terms, yes.
Yeah, question to the board. All students have the option to not pay this. Not that many students are aware of it, but it's still an option for it. There's a number of students that still choose to not pay it or have it reimbursed every semester. Have you considered that this number might grow substantially now that you're increasing the contribution?
Yes, that has been taken into consideration, but again, we have to take into consideration the fishing with BI athletics and also the fact that we can't continuously keep on reducing student welfare in this way, in terms of real terms. So I think it outweighs the risk. And I don't think, in terms of the justification is that relative to peers, it's extremely cheap. It's the, I think relative to peers, it's the cheapest still. But I also want to just say something since you brought up BI Athletics beforehand. All BI Athletics members who will get money from us also, BI Athletics members can't be members of BI Athletics whilst they're a student without also paying for SBIO. So BI Athletics members pay twice into the union. They pay for BI Athletics and they pay for SBIO. Just that clarifies that. So BI Athletics members, which are 800-ish, are paying for all of your activity, even though they don't have to explicitly be part of you. And that's why the 75 kroner goes directly to them.
Are there anyone else who wants a saying in this debate? Don't you have a sign? Yeah, 1,000.
So it's not for a debate, but just want to clarify this for the new year. So in the invoice of each semester, we pay 800.
No, the 800 is not part of our thing. I think the master head of
for
policy.
something for student union fee. So it is include this one on this one is a new thing.
I have members of management respond to him.
I can just respond to that. You pay 600 crowns every semester to SIO, which is a student welfare organization of Oslo. Sorry, I just took it down. So that's 600 to SIO, and you have to pay those 600. That's required by all students by law, so you can't not pay that one. In addition, you pay 200 crowns as of now every semester to SBIO, and on top of that, you pay 40 crowns a semester to the International Help Fund for Students, which is a sort of international help organization that run by the region students. You're required to pay the first one. You're not required to pay the two other ones. And with this fee, the sum of 200, which I mentioned, will increase to 300.
That is correct. There has been no one mentioned that this one is you can choose to pay or not to pay. And I feel like we are here voting for all the students not to belong to SBIO.
SBIO, can I just say something? SBIO acts as the BI's agent for representing student welfare at BI. So as such, you are elected members of all the academic programs and also the votes. So generally, you act as a representative democracy for everyone. If people elect not to be part of SBIO, that is their choice. We do not stop them from doing it. And BI recognizes us as the sole provider of student welfare and now BI Athletics as well.
There should be more transparent when.
What should be more transparent?
I mean, transparent when we inform the student that they choose to pay or not, because I have never received any information about this.
I think that one of the reasons that it's not there is because a lot of people would opt out of it, and that would significantly hamper our ability to provide student welfare. And it's also an extremely small cost. 300 kroner in the aggregate terms is nothing for most students. And if we inform them about phasing out, they will probably phase out, and then you'll have less funding for other activities. It's a very vicious cycle kind of thing. It's got a more negative multiplier effect.
Yes. Then.
And it is in writing if you want to find it.
Yes. You can just sit down. So we're going to the voting. If there aren't anyone else who wants saying, we can just vote. We are now voting to adjust this cost. It's not a vote to have it or not to have it. It's to have it at the current state of 200 kroner or to adjust it to 300.
Can I just say one point? If we don't adjust it for 300, then we're going to have some problems in terms of financing a lot of student union activities. Just want to say that.
Yes. Are everyone ready to go to the vote? Still a question nobody else answers
Yes.
to? Good. Okay, everyone who is for this adjustment can raise their hands. Yes to this suggestion. Against or no? And those who have not made up their minds, and the adjustment is voted yes to. Yeah. 1, 2. Okay. Okay. This agenda is going much faster than I thought it would. I actually thought the clock was going to be half session or something, but we're in front. That's good. Are you ready? Yes? Now going to agenda point number 10. SBIO and this merger process note.
Okay. All right, so I would like to just give you some context before moving on with this item. Over the last couple of years, or first of all, BIS is the other student union that BI has, which is a multi-campus model student union that covers the last 3 campuses of BI. And over the years, SBIO and BIS have been cooperating on some items, and the discussion of whether BI should have 1 student union as to 2 has occurred. There's been a lot of talking about it, and in the autumn of 2017, there was a decision made at the General Assembly to put down a group of which would work with sort of the beginning the process of outlining whether this is a possible thing we should do or not. So following the decision that was made in 2017, some members of the board as well as the management of SBIO, in accordance with the board of BIS, has done so. We have made a process document, of which you probably have seen in the agenda, of which outlines a proposal for a process of how we could potentially move on, figuring out if this is something SBIO should do or not. So what we are presenting here today is a mandate or an authorization to continue figuring out if this is something we should do or not, to become 1 student union. This is not a proposal for becoming one. It's a proposal for continuing to work towards whether that is the best solution for us or not. I think that is the overall explanation I would like to give you. The process note, it contains different parts on how we would like to involve the union. I think that's very important to state that this process will include all of you. There's not going to be anything that the board or the management decides, but it's something that we'll have to establish working groups and whatnot for the different topics that will need to be discussed. Are there any questions as to the proposal of authorizing us to continue with exploring this idea of a possible merger in the future? Yes,
it says multiple times, you mentioned an extraordinary General Assembly in September 2018. Why September 2018 and why should it be extraordinary?
Well, there's a couple of reasons for it. I would like to just say, first of all, the time frame which is given in the agenda is very, very opportunistic. So we cannot say that will be the given process, but it gives a picture of how we would like to conduct the process. As it goes for why it's an extraordinary General Assembly, that is due to the fact that if, let's say this autumn, we would have a proposal after the given president's meetings, ULM, LLM, and so on, if people agree and if this is something that the union as a whole believe is a good solution, then it will not be beneficial for SBIO to have the vote on whether we should do so at the ordinary General Assembly, because if the vote or if the proposal does not pass, we will have problems with electing a new management for, let's say, the old student union or just SBIO alone. So if we do an extraordinary one, we will be able to have more time to discuss the proposed decision. And second of all, we will be able to elect a new management of SBIO in a normal manner if it does not pass.
3003?
No, it's okay.
It's okay.
50. Am I correct in saying that BIS already has approved this?
Yeah. BIS has done the same or has the same proposal as we've had, and they have approved the authorization of moving on with the process of exploring this idea.
Okay, then we can go on to the debate. If anyone wants to have a comment, there is not. Okay. All right. Then we are going to vote on this process notes that authorize the board and the whole union to work on this process further. Are all the voting delegates ready? Yes. Yes. All those in favor of continuing this work can do that by showing their hands. Now, yes. And those against, no. Those who have not made up your mind, and the work can continue. Yes. Okay. Then all of the law. Yeah, sorry. 1, 2. Yes. 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 And then we have. Then we have sat here for almost 1.5 hours. Do you want to have a break now?
Yes.
Then I think we are having a break till quarter to 7, and the pizza will come in 10 minutes. Yes. So you can fill up your water bottles or whatever, and the pizza will be out here in 10 minutes.
Ja, men da hadde jeg glemt det. Ja, det var det bare.
Then find your places, and we will continue this general assembly. Now we're going to start election of all of the places we're going to elect today. And we're going to start with the control committee. Yeah, first of all, we have to make sure that the correct number of votes, how many have disappeared during the break. There is voting in your system now. You can go in and vote, and we can just check that all of you are, who should be here, are here.
Ja.
Are all those who can't vote in the system, can you raise your sheet?
Can or can't?
Is something wrong?
That those who can or can't?
Can't. Cannot.
Du må stemme den uten inn på mailen.
Okay.
Altså sånn?
Ja, så må hente opp linken på nytt.
Ja, ok.
De som ikke kommer inn, dere bare krysser ut planen, og så må dere logge inn på nytt ved link i mailen.
When we start the election, the doors will be closed during the whole process. So if you go out, you will not get in again. det kan jeg også gjøre. Okay, yeah. Then the control committee will orientate about the process.
So we've had full insight in the whole process, and we've been invited by the election committee to the interviews. We sadly haven't been able to go to them. We've gone through all the work they've done, and we haven't found it any suspicious activity. I don't. So.
Then we will go to the first place at in student representative of the board. What board? The election committee has recommended one person, two persons, because there are two places in this election. We are going to take them separate. So we are going to the first election first, then the second. And the name of the first person? Yeah.
Hello everyone. My name is Christoph and I represent the election committee. Okay, the election committee hereby nominates Adam Sunde for the position as student representative in the board of trustees. Adam has shown great commitment to SBIO since he started at BI, through his time in NU, Karrieredagene, and BI Athletics. Especially throughout his tenure as the president of NU, he has shown an ability to make hard choices, but also how to accomplish results. He has demonstrated that he is well aware of the tasks that comes with the position as a student representative. Adam has reflected on what SBIO could improve and his unique knowledge, which will make him an important contributor to the board. The election committee considers Adam's ability to implement changes and improvements to be of high importance when given a seat in the board of trustees. Being able to make both good and difficult decisions in a short amount of time is of crucial importance. We also see him as a competent, structured, and open person, which are characteristics we believe the board will benefit greatly from. The nomination is unanimous.
And before Adam will have his election speech, I will ask the General Assembly if there are any other candidates for this position as student representative. Can I see that? Adam, do you want to have election speech?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I prepared for it anyway. Dear General Assembly, I would first like to thank the election committee for nominating me and for kind words. So, short background, my name is Adam, I'm 22 years old. I'm currently in the third year of my Civiløkonom program. And I'm also the president of Næringslivsutvalget, as the election committee said. Besides school, I study part-time at a small investment and consulting firm called Fortune Group. And I also am co-founder of a website called Musikkklassen. So I'm running for this position because SBIO has been very important for me at my time at BI, both socially, but also academically and experience-wise. And this is a great opportunity for me to utilize some of the experiences that I've gained to help shape and develop the union going forward. So why would you want me in the board? I try to give you 3 reasons. First, I have quite a bit of experience with digitization projects. I've led multiple website development projects, and I think some experience with IT in the board would be a good idea, and I can contribute to that. Secondly, while being a president at NU, I've been in charge of a fairly comprehensive strategic planning process. And I think, like, I'm not an expert on the topic, but to have some experience I think would be helpful to bring into the board. And third, I consider myself to be an analytical person, and also an open-minded person, which I think are two traits that would be useful when discussing like complex problems in a board discussion scenario. Okay, if you have any questions, don't hesitate. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Adam?
Yeah, how well are you experienced with strategic changes as our strategy is currently expiring? You said you have done some work. How developed do you feel like you are in that term?
That's a good question. I think I'm speaking into the microphone. Does it work? Okay. Do you hear me better now? Yes. Okay. So I don't really feel experienced. That's just the short answer. We have been through a process, and there are definitely parts of the process that I didn't see the outcome of before we started, and so I've learned from that. And I think those are the lessons that are most important for me to take with me into a board position, because maybe I can see something that I wouldn't have seen before, and that someone else might not have seen. But I'm definitely not an expert.
Are there any other questions? I cannot see any. You ready? Okay, we're going to do this selection in the system you have already used twice. So you can go into the system and either choose Adam Sunde or no vote.
Is it too late for a comment or?
Yes.
Okay, because I was just thinking. I didn't have enough time to think, so okay. One thing, it goes very fast today. We don't have time to think of the questions.
Yeah, I can.
So if we could we do this again? Because I have a really, I think, good question that many, I think, are wondering.
I'm sorry, we have already started the voting, so many have already voted. All right. Yeah.
We can't do it again.
We could take it up for a vote, but yeah, okay. As we closed the possibility to ask questions, and I understand if I went too fast, but since we're already in the voting, we will finish this, and we can do that first. Yes, and then I don't hesitate that Adam would answer the question, but we can finish the voting first.
What do I do?
You can also vote. Yeah. Yeah. And just to be clear, everyone has to vote, because if not everyone do vote now, we have to do it again. If that doesn't add up, we have to count you again. So if you are hesitant of voting now, you just want to do that. Now the counters are going to go out and check the result. Make sure all of those who have 1, 2, or 3 votes are the correct, and all of this, and make sure the result is complete. I just have to, it was hard to make a decision here now. Is it okay for the General Assembly that we move further to the next election, or do you not accept that this voting is done? Jeg kan si det på norsk også. Vil generalforsamlinga at vi er jo egentlig ferdig med denne plassen nå, når stemmetallene kommer inn. Det er uansett ikke noe vi kan gjøre med det nå under tellingen av stemmer. Det vi kan gjøre da er å ta opp, eller gå videre til neste sak. Da tar vi det først. Sorry. And Adam received over 50% of the votes, so he is elected. I can understand that this was a bit noisy, but I'm going to ask you now, in this next process, at least 3 times if you have a question. When we go to a vote, the possibility to ask a question is over. I do believe that Adam most likely would answer a question, but now we are in an election, so we have to move on. Is that okay for the General Assembly?
Yeah. No.
No?
It's not.
Okay. It's not? Okay, then we can take a vote over it. All those in favor of moving on can raise their sheet now. Those against? And the General Assembly wants to move on. Then the next decision is the next place, the next seat in the representative election committee.
Student representative in the Board of Trustees. The election committee hereby nominate Elise Christoffersen for the position as student representative in the Board of Trustees. We experience Elise as a highly reflected and engaging student. She has throughout her time at BI taken part in both NU, Jentekamp, BI Athletics, and the Academic Association of BI Civiløkonomi, in addition to being a class representative. She has played a central role in the implementation of important measures and has achieved good results in several of her positions. Elisa has shown a good sense of responsibility and a drive by already taking an extra step to get into the tasks and challenges of the board. She has impressed the election committee with thoughts and ambitions which are in line with those of the sitting board, but also the existing vision and strategy. The nomination is unanimous.
I'm going to ask again, is there any other candidates for this place as student representative of the board, or the board? No. As I understand, Elisa is not here. But do we have another one? Yes, we do have a speech.
Okay, my name is Elise Christoffersen. I'm 24 years old. And on my second year in the Bachelor of Science in Business and Economics, or Civiløkonom. This semester, I am on exchange in Helsinki at Hanken School of Economics. I would like to start by thanking the election committee for the nomination. I've been active in the student union since my first semester, through committees and obligations like academic relations manager in the academic association, member of Næringslivsutvalget, financial manager in Entcamp, and as a class representative. Through these obligations, I have seen the necessity for SBIO to be a transparent organization. I want to become a student representative in order to get a bigger picture of why limitations and challenges at BI are the way they are. Hopefully, I can contribute to taking action towards solving some of the challenges BI is facing. As part of the board, I would like to work towards and further develop the goals set out in SBIO's strategy. I would like to highlight 3 things I find challenging at BI today. First, SBIO strives to be an international student association. This goal is not supported by our courses, where only a minimum is held in English. Second, I think a concrete measure that should be considered taken are improving the overlapping routines through the use of the staff function SBIO human resources. Last, I think it's important to make regulations regarding CRM and contacting companies easily accessible and clarified to create an understanding for these regulations. I think it's important to be in dialogue with schools across borders. This week, I met with the strategic responsible in the management at Hanken. This was something I wanted to do in order to get a better understanding of this role. I hope I get the opportunity to join the SBIO Board of Trustees and contribute towards creating a better student period that prepares us better for life after our studies. Thank you for your attention.
Now we're in a funny position that person who is nominated isn't here, but we can open for questions, and Erik could answer on Elise's behalf.
Yeah, and I also have some prepared questions. Yeah, so maybe you post.
Yeah. 2010 number, you? Yeah.
Could you just repeat the first challenge you mentioned?
SBIO strives to be an international student association. This goal is not supported by our courses, where only a minimum is held in English, unless, of course, you're in the BBA program.
Yeah. But just to get it straight, so she thinks that the internationalization process is not good, or does she think that it's not good that the courses are held in Norwegian?
She thinks the internationalization process is good and that BI should support our goal more than they do now.
All right.
The people that have chosen this person have chosen a person that has only been at BI and SBIO only 1.5 years or 2 years. She's in her 2nd year of bachelor's, and all the goals she said, I feel, are more like management positions, problems that the management should solve and not the board. Do we really think, like, the people who voted her, do they really think that she's qualified enough to be at the top of SBIO, to sit in the board? Because, yeah. We just voted a person who said he was not qualified or he was not experienced enough. Are we really not going to have experienced people at the board?
So the gap between the board and the management is not that big, and we do work on some of the same areas, and we get support from each other. What I could say about Lisa is that she has an amazing drive, and she is one of the most type jentene that I know. She has experiences outside of SBIO or BI. She's been in the military for a long time. And I think there are some valuable experiences she could use from there.
I feel that the question is also directed to the election committee.
Yes.
So just to answer your question, I feel we say yes. We are 100% sure that she is qualified for the position. And we don't think that it's, you have to have sort of spent 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years in different positions in the student union to be qualified to sit at the top of the union. It's traditionally, these positions are held by students that has gone all the ranks being in the academic associations, being in the management, and then finally in the board, but we don't feel that's the way necessarily to do it. We think a mix of students is better.
I would like to add that this is a moment to ask questions.
Question.
Yeah. Okay, 1043.
Can you just repeat what kind of positions she had in SBIO?
Yes. Member of Næringslivsutvalget, financial manager in Jentekamp, academic relations manager in CIVEC last year, and class representative.
3003.
So you're saying if you go into a company and become the leader or go up the top management without having like gone through the whole process? Like, I don't understand, because I thought like the board were the ones that were sitting like on top and making the big decisions. I thought like in any other business, you start at the bottom and you like sort of climb yourself up and gain people's trust. Like, I thought that was how the process was going. Well, you can't have someone who's totally new or pretty much new and going to the board. I personally believe that that is not a good idea.
The election committee will not further defend why we have nominated a person, but we feel that yes, you can go into a company, even though this is not a company, and go straight to the top. We feel a mix of people is better than just experience.
Was there another question?
No, I just want to answer her question. Because you can look from different companies.
This isn't a debate. It's a possibility to ask a question to a candidate. When the candidate isn't here, it's hard to ask a question to the candidate. I understand that. But if you are not feeling confident enough in this candidate to not vote for her, you have the possibility to not vote for her. This is not a possibility to discuss which kind of people do we want in the board. We are here in the case of Elise or not. We are not here to discuss the work of the election committee. We are not here to talk negative or talk. We have the possibility to ask questions to Elise. And when she's not here, that's hard, but that's what the statute said.
I just have a question about the process. Like,
yeah.
So when can we ask questions about their job if we feel like, if we have questions, like if this is not the time, when can we do it?
To the election committee?
Yeah. About the people they have elected. Like, I just don't understand when the opportunity is.
Yes.
I have one comment or one question, and to quickly respond to your question, Karina, is that you have every opportunity to ask the board any question during our orientation. But I have a question for you. Would you please repeat who Elisa talked to at her university at Hanken in order to get insight?
Strategic responsible in the management at Hanken.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other questions about this position?
I would just say one thing. If you have other questions for us in the election committee, we might, if you want it, we can open that point all the way to the end of General Assembly, where you can ask us everything. But you can also come in private and just ask us. But if you feel that this is a question that the entire General Assembly needs to hear and discuss, well, we won't have a debate on why and how we work, but you're welcome to question us after the main points under the optional points. Yeah.
Yes. Does anyone else have any questions? Is it then okay for the General Assembly that we go to voting? Is anyone against that we're going to voting now? No. Then you can sit down there, and you can choose to vote for Elise or not to vote. With that, I mean you have to push not vote, not. Good. unquote.
What? After 23?
Still, okay, yeah. Is it then okay for the General Assembly that we move to the next position, that is Deputy Student Representative for the board?
Yes.
That's okay? Yes? Then the election committee can come and say a few words.
Hello again. Deputy Student Representative in the Board of Trustees. The election committee hereby nominate Pernille Skarpenes for the position as Deputy Student Representative in the Board of Trustees. Throughout her time in SBIO, as well as when competing on the top level of cross-country skiing, Pernille has demonstrated her ability to be goal-oriented and resourceful. She has also shown her ability to combine academic effort with voluntary and professional work. These achievements demonstrate a highly structured personality and the capability to prioritize. Pernille has taken an interest in the strategic thinking on how SBIO could be more attractive to business. And based on her experiences, she has also a reflective approach on how this could be achieved. Pernille appears as a conscious, positive, and hardworking person. The nomination is unanimous.
First of all, I'm going to ask if there are any other candidates for this position. I cannot see. Is there a person who wants to hold the elections? Yeah. First of all, I'm just going to inform that in the statutes, there are a possibility for 2 deputies, deputy student representative, but the election committee has only recommended for the one. The other one will take afterwards. But first, you're going to hold the election speech. You can come down. You have 2 minutes. On behalf of Pernille, I would like to thank the election committee for her nomination. Dear General Assembly, I, Pernille Skarpenes, wish to work towards an engaging campus life for the students attending BI, so that the students here can experience how valuable it is to be a part of SBIO. I want to make sure that our academic content is up to speed regarding development in different subjects, that it is presenting,
that it is presented in an engaging way, whilst combining this with the social life on campus and in SBIO. I believe that this is a combination that will motivate and lead to a bigger engagement and on both on and towards BI and SBIO. Furthermore, I want to contribute on making SBIO even more attractive for the business world. I believe that this can be accomplished by working more goal-oriented and being aware of our collaboration within and across SBIO and in our cooperation with BI towards the business world. I am goal-oriented, structured, energetic, and have an implementation capacity that is strong in the work I put down. Even though I like it best when it's fun, I'm tough enough to speak my mind and expressing my opinions clearly. As a person, I'm including and is always striving to pull out the best in myself and in others so that we can accomplish more together. Challenges motivates me, and you will not see me give up before the job is done, which I believe I taught and learned in my professional sports career. For the last 2 years, I've been engaged in SBIO through Inspire, both as an ambassador and later as the head of business relations, and in the board of Finansmentor, which is today no longer a part of the student union.
Stop you there. It's 2 minutes. Is there any questions for?
Ja, 3003.
Did she apply for the board or the deputy position?
Am I allowed to answer that?
You know the answer.
Yeah, she applied for the board.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions?
I think it's a bit unclear what the position is.
I can explain it. The deputy student representative is what we call in Norwegian vara bestyrer. It's an extra person in case of one of the regular members are not present. This person can vote at the board meetings. So it's an extra to ensure that the board can vote on important matters if someone is missing or not present. 3005?
God afternoon.
Pernille er dessverre på jobbreise.
1043.
Can the election committee elaborate on why they didn't choose her for the board?
This is not a position to election committee. It's the candidate. So it's quite hard to do that. You have to make up your own mind, I presume. Are there any other questions? I can't see anyone. Is it okay to go to voting? Are anyone against going to the voting? No, then you can take up your phone or PC and vote on Pernille or no.
Missing 3 votes.
Permission 1043 and 2010.
Yes. Before we go to the next election, I would inform the General Assembly that Elisa was chosen for the second student representative of the board place. Then we go to the election of student representatives for the control committee. If we can take the and Pernille is chosen to be deputy. Before we start on the control committee, I have to ask the General Assembly if there are any candidates for the second deputy place. I can't see deputy of the of the board as the same as Pernille was just chosen. Are there anyone? No. Then we go to the control committee. There are no recommendations. So this we have to do this a little in another way. First of all, I'm going to ask if. Okay, I just have to gather my thoughts here now. Are there any candidates for the control committee? It's one.
No, I'm not a candidate.
You aren't a candidate.
No, I'm just asking a question. Like, you're not actually explaining what the positions are.
No, I'm not.
Is it possible to get like a brief explanation of what they involve?
Yeah, I think it's not the best that I will do it. But the committee can perhaps say a few words.
The control committee is a committee that is one of the two functions that support the GA. It's the control committee and the election committee. What we do in most cases is interpret the statutes if there are any situations where it's a bit unclear in the union how to proceed. We also, when asked, can go into situations and mediate if necessary, or investigate if something unpleasant has happened. Do you want more information, or?
All of the tasks the control committee does is in the statutes, so you can look it up there. I just asked if there were any candidates. We have another suggestion to transfer this election to the president of the academic associations meeting. Yeah. And so I'm going to ask one last time: is there any candidates now? No. Everyone that is for sending this election to the president of academic associations meeting, and do that by showing their voting sheet now. And those who are against doing that. Okay, then it's transfer. Then we will go to the last election of today, which is election for representatives for welfare council, which is a part of. Okay, so from the control committee, it's the deputy representatives to the welfare council. Then I will, since there are no recommendation here either, I would ask the General Assembly if there are any candidates. Two, you can both come down here.
Question?
Yeah.
Can they elaborate on what the position is about before they speak?
Welfare council?
Yep.
Welfare council, yeah.
So the student representative in the welfare council is Velferdstinget. For those who don't know, so we have like a, I don't know, say a community or a committee that are supposed to represent the students to work field. And these are the people that we're working for. We have 4 seats, and we have filled those 4 seats, so these are the representatives, or the deputies for these representatives.
Very roughly put, the Welfare Council is the parliament for all students in Oslo.
Yes. Then I'm instructed, I'm going to ask the candidate, have you applied for this position? 1 yes, and 1 no. Now the General Assembly is going to make up their mind if they want to go through with the election of the candidate who hasn't applied for this in the first place. Is it a question?
Yeah, it's a question. Can the candidate elaborate on why he did not apply before we take a vote?
If he gets the possibility to go into the election, he can answer that after his speech. So not before. Now we're gonna vote on: do we want to let him run or not? And those who are in favor of letting Sondre, that was your name, right? Yes. Sondre run as welfare council representative. Jeffrey can show it now. Those against? Okay, Sondre can run. Since this is not one place, but it's several places, they both can be elected. They can also be voted in together, if you understand that. We don't have to have a process with election speeches and correct me.
Seeing as there are 2 candidates for more than 2 spots, if no one objects, you can do it in the same voting round. So you don't have to vote twice and log in twice. And if you allow that, one candidate does not have to leave while the other gives his vote. But if you would like to vote twice, then they would have to.
Is it okay for the General Assembly that we are voting over Sondre and Jonas at the same time? Those who are against could show with their voting sheet. Okay, everyone is okay with doing it in the same round? Yes, then we can start by Jonas start with his election speech.
I was informed that I could do the speech in Norwegian, so I made it in Norwegian, but I'll try to translate it to English instead. I'm on my first year here at SBI. I moved here this autumn, and I study marketing. And one of the first things I did at BI was to join the SBIO politics. And I want to run as deputy for the Welfare Council because I've been involved in the political environment at BI since the beginning of my time at BI. And as you saw earlier, I'm now the president of SBIO Politics, and I feel that this deputy position is a good add-on to that position. Through my position as president, I've worked a lot with PI, and I've got and I have been a deputy when other deputies, the current deputies, haven't been able to attend Welfare Council, and I have already done this twice. So I have participated, and I voted, and I know what it's all about. I've also, as you saw earlier, made the political document for SBIO, which is followed in the Welfare Council. So I have a bit of knowledge about what it is. And as it was said, I believe we have 12 deputies, the representatives that can run. So we have plenty of space. And since I've already been deputy of the deputies, I think it's wise that we elect more. Thank you.
Open to questions to Jonas. Are there any questions? No? You can just sit down. Also have 2 minutes.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Sondre, and I am in my second year here at BI, studying business and administration, or administration and economy. And as of now, I have experience in student politics by being a manager of the development committee at SBIO Politics. And I have also been to 2 of the latest Welfare Council meetings as a representative. And I want to apply because I think it's really important to that BI and SBIO's meanings will be heard in student politics, and that we can contribute to make sure that our goals will go through, and we will achieve the goals we are setting, for instance, with the political documents that it was represented earlier today.
Okay. Are there any questions? Again,
you did not apply, right?
Yes.
Can you elaborate on why you did not?
It was because it's exams period, and I just the time frame was left up in my head, so I didn't manage to do it for the time itself.
It was just a mistake.
Yeah.
Any more questions? No.
Yeah. Can I ask you questions to him as well before the voting, or is it too late?
Jonas is done with the questions, and now it's
okay. That's great.
Yeah. Are we ready to go to voting? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Now the voting system will have in some other pool for that. Yeah, that's not like it. Yeah. So now we're gonna vote on both these candidates at the same time. It will make sense when you open the system. And you can just start vote.
We're missing 1,004.
Then we are kind of done with all the all the agenda points that was sent out in advance. We have already had 2 more agenda points, so I think we can just. Okay, we just. There you go. Then we're just gonna wait a bit. And then both Sondre and Jonas is elected as deputy. Then we start on the first optional agenda point.
All right. Okay, everyone, we're soon to be done. Hope you still have the energy going for just a couple more minutes. As on behalf of the board, I am here to request a mandate for continuing or to proceed with the process of electing a new president of SBIO. After discussions with our control committee, we have taken or we've reviewed our statutes to see what opportunities we have in order to proceed. And we have figured out that we see it as the most beneficial for the union in the sense of time, but also or in the sense of both effectiveness and as best for the union. We would like to request to get the mandate to elect the new president of SBIO after a normal process with the election committee and an open election at the next board meeting, the 7th of May. Meaning that we would like the process to be as follows. Everyone can apply to become the next president of SBIO through the natural channels. And then our election committee will proceed with interviews, but the decision will be made at the board meeting and not an extraordinary general assembly. That is our request to be able to do. So to be able to take this case into an effective manner. Questions?
Elections outside of the General Assembly are regulated in the statutes. And this point states that all elections of people outside the General Assembly is delegated to the President's meeting. I would strongly urge the General Assembly to not give away the power to elect your most important person to the board meeting. And I would urge the board and the President to organize an extraordinary President's meeting to elect this person and not give away most of your democratic powers, all of them in the sense.
He sort of answered my question, but I'm going to answer it again. Does this mean that you guys decide and not we?
That is correct.
Yeah.
We're requesting for the decision to be made at the board meeting.
Okay.
Det er et punkt om fratredelse også, som sier at dersom en person fratres sin rolle, så skal organet over innsette en ny.
fram til neste ordinære generalforsamling. Dette betyr at per i dag kan styret velge en ny leder, men ordteksten litt vag, slik at man kan tolke som at han må av ved generalforsamlingen. Dette gjør bare at vi har en mer åpen og transparent prosess, som faktisk gjelder de 2 månedene etter siste ordinære generalforsamling også. Så dersom man ikke stemmer for dette, så kan fortsatt styret velge en ny leder uten en åpen valgprosess, slik jeg tolker reglene.
But first it's 2010, then...
Oh, no,
Okay, then we go to 8.
Yes, well, I'm not asking that you vote down that we must have a new election, or we should. We should not just fall back to the point that the board should just be able to appoint that one. I agree to the first part of the proposition that we should have an election process. I just propose and I urge you to move the election itself to a president's meeting and not a board meeting.
The next one was 106.
Yes, if the person is chosen by you and not us, would that be like a substitute until the next General Assembly, or would that person be fully set in as the president of SBIO?
That will be until the next period, meaning the person first, or 31st of December, so a normal stretch, the rest of the period.
2030.
I have a question to the management. Why isn't the vice president taking over the position?
I can respond to that. Is that it's regulated by our statutes that we have no tradition in the vice president is taking over. We have statutes regarding election of people within the management. So
2034. Can the board elaborate on why they want to do it within the board? Is it because efficiency matter, or?
Yeah, I was gonna respond to that in the end. Regardless, is that the reason why we believe that this is the best solution is due to the fact that it will be handled in an efficient manner. Well, yes, we can have an extraordinary president's meeting or general assembly next week for that sake. But we believe that given the circumstances and we believe that the board, with its experience, is in the best position now to take a decision for the union to move forward with the best possible choice. We believe that our experience will make us able to take a decision with the necessary insight, which potentially the General Assembly might not have. And we believe that as a board, this is a good opportunity for us to make a decision that will, or we believe that we're in the best place to make this decision at this point.
I have 3 more speakers.
Yeah. Sorry, I'd like to add one more thing. Another reason for why we've discussed this is not just because of the student representatives of which are in the board. We also have external representatives on our board from businesses around in Norway that we believe will be suited to help us and assist in taking that decision. It will not just be the student representative. It will be taken up to full board meetings.
Yes. The speeches I have now is 3003, 1005, and 1026. 3003.
My question is 2 parts. Can we make this into a discussion so we can discuss what we can do? Perfect. That was, yeah. If you didn't say yes, I would have a question.
1005.
Yes, given that there's a president meeting at the 8th of May, isn't it better for the student union so that the president can vote on this topic, that the president of the SBIO can be chosen by the students and not the board members? And I strongly against giving this power to businesses. I sincerely think this is a position that should be chosen only by the student body.
Well, yes, and to respond to your questions, that the student representatives are chosen on behalf of the entire union as a whole and also the students. So giving it to the president's meetings, yes, you will be able to vote on behalf of your programs, which is essentially all the students. But you can argue that we are also elected on behalf of all the students. But it's a fair point. So we're not opposed to the idea of discussing it, but this is the notion that we're putting forward.
2026.
So for clarity, could you please clearly explain the alternatives?
Yeah. So as it goes for when someone resigns from a position within the management, we have a statute called, it's paragraph 19.3. It says that when someone in the management resigns from their position, the organ above are able to choose a new person for this position until the next General Assembly. We view it as bad for someone to be elected only until late October and not until the final, or to miss the 2 months. Therefore, we are suggesting an open process with the election committee as well, and to take the decision rather than to just choosing someone now until the next ordinary General Assembly. We would like to choose someone for the entire process. So as it goes for our proposed decision, that is for us to take the decision at the next board meeting, following the normal rules or the normal statutes for electing people.
We can go over to the debate of this topic. Is there anyone who wants to speak in the debate? 2003?
Okay. What is your name?
Christoph.
Christoph. I totally agree with Christoph. I think it's better than the students that are directly representing all the students at BI choose instead of just the board choosing. I would think that that would not be a very democratic way to do it. Therefore, I believe it would be best that we make this decision at the next LLM on the 8th of May, which is not, it's 2 weeks time.
Yes, 2010.
So I have a couple of questions actually. One of them is, you said that this would make the process more effective. How, like when would we know who the new president is? How effective would that actually be?
How you, or when you will know?
Yeah, when, like how quick?
Evening of 7th of May.
The 7th of May. Okay, and also, what's the fordelingen? Distribution in the board, because you mentioned that there are some people from businesses that are externals, and then there's student representatives that have votes. What's the actual distribution of this? How many votes are there, and how many are actually student representatives?
We have 8 board members, of which we have 4 or 3 external representatives from various companies, and then we have 1 BI representative. So in total, that is 4, call it external representatives, and then we have 4 student representatives with a vote.
So just a comment as well to someone said down here earlier that it's that he doesn't want to actually put this power in the hands of businesses, but actually with people that are actually working and know how this process works, who is actually qualified for board positions. I think it's actually not such a bad thing that this is left in the hands of people who actually know what they're doing. As many also know, that students are actually not experienced with how this works. So yes, the students get a say. There are 4 people that are student representatives, and also they get to hear the expertise of people that actually work for this for a living. So just a comment that is actually also negative.
There was a lot of people who raised their signs up, all those who were up there. Okay. Then the next speaker is 2013. Sorry, reply, rebuttal.
Yeah, I just want to add to what you're saying is that one of the external representatives in the board is Mette, which is the CEO of Cornfree, which is like, she's one of the best people in Norway on executive search headhunting. So I believe she's qualified and will be helping us to make an educated decision. So we have people in the board who have the experience and the vocations to help us. Absolutely.
There were also replies up there. 2003 first, then 160, and then 1042.
I've been to 3 general assemblies and I've never seen a business person directly voting. I think the majority that have to decide who's going to be the president, especially the president of SBIO management, are students because they're going to work for us. And I think that we should not involve in such a great amount, like we shouldn't give businesses that much power. I think it should go, like I'm saying, I think it should go to the other one.
Can I comment to or respond? Or
No,
should I be
the
part of the
comments,
discussion?
the replies are to 1010. If that was
Oh, sorry, what? Oh, yeah, please reply.
You can reply on the end. There's a lot of replies here now.
Yeah,
so we can.
I'll get back.
116, it's your turn.
I don't question that you're qualified enough to decide this or that the businesses don't have enough experience. I absolutely agree that you should be a part of the process. But we are always hearing that we have to use our voice, we have to come to the General Assembly and actually vote. And I think this just contradicts that completely. And I think we have to join forces and make it effective, like you said, but also include us. Otherwise, you're just contradicting how we work as a student union.
Then it's 1042.
I think also an answer to what she said, that I think the board has much more insight and knowledge about every situation in SBIO and has a much more, they have a better way of evaluating the situation here and they can be much more effective throughout the process to have it done before the end of next month. And I think if we have an extraordinary president's meeting, we will not have it done before the summer, or maybe in the middle of June.
1005, like 3005.
Takk norsk. Linjeforeningen til PR- og markedskommunikasjon som heter KOM, støtter Kristoff og IM på at denne makten burde helt klart ligge hos studentene. Det er linjeforeningen som representerer studentene. Full tillit til styret med det som styret skal jobbe med, og helt klart næringslivet kan sitt om det å drive næringsliv. Vi må ikke glemme at SBIO som studentforening noe helt annet enn business, noe helt annet enn næringslivet. Vi en studentforening, og jeg tror vi tjent med å velge mer. Takk.
Okay. There were a lot of comments on reply on that comment. I'm going to stop the replying now, and all of those who wanted to have a reply at this comment can take their signs up now. 2030. Okay. Yeah. Then we will go on the. Do you want to reply the replies?
No, 1000.
Okay. Then we just go down the speech list, and then you will be able to see afterwards. 1013. The replies to 1010's comment is now done. So now we take regular comments.
I have a comment to that.
You will have it in your comment. We go further. It's 1013.
Yeah, it's already been said.
Okay. 1024. 1024. No. 3.
Yes, I fully agree, I see all of your points, I really do. Not that we're in any way against letting you guys take the decision. The reason, I just want to again clarify the reason as to why we're suggesting this is that, as someone also pointed out, we have a very clear understanding of everything that is going on in the union. And as for your, for your information, or as most people probably know, a board in any type of other company, their main task or most important task is typically hiring or firing any CEO or president, to use that word. So it's a very common process as to where the board chooses, but we will definitely
So I move your.
A comment to 160?
Yes.
A reply, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's not a reply.
Okay, then you have your.
It's orange. In the
George, it's just a comment. Sorry, it's my fault. It's my head is telling it's late now. 116 I put you on the list, and then we go to 8.
Right. Okay, just to clarify first on the rules here. What we're actually discussing now is not regulated in the statutes. So if you want to do this, I'm just saying, the decision we do here tonight, or you do, will have to be supported by 2/3 of you, 2/3 of the votes. Then, I'm glad you put this to discussion because I have a proposal to you so you can vote on it. And it goes as follows. The General Assembly authorizes the Board of Trustees and the Election Committee to initiate the recruitment of a new president of SBIO. The recruitment will follow the guidelines as set out in the statutes. The election of a new president will be done at the next president's meeting.
Yes, then it's 1030.
Could you just translate what you just said? So could you translate in English what you just said?
Loosely, I have confidence in the Board of Trustees, and it's a good thing with business representatives that are in the Board of Trustees, and what the work they do on a daily basis and in our Board of Trustees. But I still think that the power of this should lay with us, the students, so that we choose the president of our union. Yeah, maybe even it might be a student you know that you would or would not vote for because you have previous relations with them, for instance.
Thank you. Then the next speaker is 40.
I just wanted to say that I hear a lot of the comments is that you guys don't want other companies to interfere, but there is a specific reason why we have external representatives there is because they are experienced, they have the knowledge, and they have been there for quite some time, so they have a good amount of insight as to how SBIO is run. And I truly believe they have enough experience as to how SBIO is driven, and the fact that they have high positions in external companies just is, in a way, a testimony as to the fact that they will make the best decision for the student union. And I think it's very important for everyone to reflect upon that. They are not there to work against us. They are there to help us and guide us. When we are unsure of things in the management, we go to the board and ask for advice. So they are there to help us. So please remember that.
Yes, then it's 116.
Yeah, I just wanted to take up, like, at the last General Assembly, when there was a position that was not filled, it was selected on the, what? It was selected on the next president's meeting, and I do not see why that does not apply here. If you say that you will have a candidate ready by the 7th of May, and the president's meeting is the 8th of May, it's 24 hours more, it will be just as effective. I do not see the issue here, so I fully support Kristo's proposal that in that way, you get your expertise, you get to use it, you get to recruit whomever you find the most qualified, and we get to vote.
So you can have a comment later. The next speaker is 1034.
I believe that if the board has already gone through the process of evaluating this, that they know why they have done this decision that they have. Our external partners in the board, I believe that Modus Eriksson is in the board.
He's their BI representative.
Yes. They know SBIO, they know what we do. Several of the projects' budgets are taken to the board. They've seen it, they know what we do, they know our projects and what we accomplish here. So I don't believe that. I'm not saying that the power shouldn't lay on the president's dinner, but if the board already has evaluated this and means that thinks that they should do it, they're also student representative as well as you are.
Yes. 1043. Do you want to reply that? You
I
have
can
a
comment on that,
comment.
yeah.
You have the next comment, so we'll
Okay.
just take that.
Well, just to clarify, I have all the trust in the board. There's no question about that. But the thing is, I speak for myself and probably for someone else that we probably want to choose our own leader. We don't want anyone else to choose or give us a leader. The students probably want to do that by their own, and as I hear here, it's probably the best thing. I support Christoph, and as he said, the people in the board is probably super qualified. But for me, I want to choose our leader. I don't want to be given a leader.
Yeah, 2003.
I agree with you, Carl, and Fanny, especially what Fanny said, that it won't be any less effective doing it at the LLM. And then I propose that, because we have been talking about the same stuff like for 5 minutes now, and I propose we go to vote if we wanted to go Christoph's proposal or not.
Yes, I have 3 more speakers, so we can take them.
Okay.
It's 1005, 3, and 1042.
It's a reply for him.
Yeah, you can take it in your comment.
I don't need the comment.
Okay. Then we go to 2005.
I'm quite interested in hearing what the board management has to say about the topic, and if he would like, what Emil thinks as well. I'm quite interested in hearing their point of view, given that he's the one sitting down, and I think his view matters in this case.
I think that we, as a management, would like to. I think that it will be efficient to let the board vote or to elect a new president. Personally, I'm not opposed to either solutions. I think that it's probably going to be a very good new president either way. I'm confident.
No, he answered my question. I was just wondering what his personal opinion was on the matter, and he answered.
That's great. That's me. Yeah, I would just like to respond to some of the comments that the most important basis for our reasoning here is due to the competence, and also especially due to the fact that we've been following the management of 2018 since they got elected. So we've been following them throughout the process of overlapping, of setting their strategy, on following up on their goals and how their current status is. And we believe that those are very valuable things that we need to take into consideration when electing a new president. It's unfortunate for the union as a whole that, well, we have to sort of elect a new one. So for also the efficiency, when I'm saying efficiency, I'm also meaning that in that sense, to work quickly with the group to suit them in the best way possible for the union as a whole, for them to work collectively going forward.
1042. It was a reply.
It's
1042. Did you want to comment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I believe that Julie stated earlier that we have elected the board, and that is also one of the trusts. We want to give you the trust to elect our new president. I believe that is one of the things we actually agree upon when we select the board, because they are supposed to handle things, extraordinary things that happen. We are not explicitly saying they are going to elect the president if he decides to not be the president anymore, but it says like in general when we elect, and I think we should give the board the trust that we gave them when we elected them.
Sorry for being a little bit absent there. Are there anyone else who want to speak in this debate? No. Then I will attempt to clarify what we are going to vote on now. First, we have 2 suggestions. That both is a suggestion to overrule the statutes on this matter. We can take the statutes first. That is that the board just chooses a person, right?
That the normal process for electing a new person to the management is followed, except the final part of either having an extraordinary general assembly or deciding to move it to LLM is changed to the next board meeting. So we'll have a full-on normal process with the election committee, just that the decision is made at the board meeting.
Without any. I understand if this is a bit hard to understand the differences there, because I don't totally understand it myself.
Okay.
What I think what you're getting here is that there are actually three things. There are the statutes as written, and there's the board's proposal, and it's my proposal.
Yeah. Is it possible to ask a question still?
We can try to explain the differences first, and if it's still not clear, we can open for questions, but only questions, not meaningful questions. You know what I mean? Yes? Okay. The statutes. Okay. Control committee. Explain the statutes.
As it stands, right up now, you have three different outcomes. What's on the table is what the statute says. Someone from the management has left their position. If no other process is started, the board has the mandate to choose someone until the next GA, but not for the remaining period. And then there are, on top of that, two different options. You can give the board the authority to elect someone until the end of December. The other is to give linjeledermøte, president's meeting, the authority to elect someone until the end of December.
Okay, then we can open for questions. In questions only. 1042, 3005, and 1005.
What happens if there is yeah. What happens if there is a conflict of interest inside the LLM meeting? If one of my, because I'm in the LLM meeting, and what if any of the other presidents apply? It will be a conflict of interest, right? So what happens if there is? Because everyone knows each other. So I believe that if we have it in the LLM, there's a bigger chance that the conflict will be there.
Yeah. What will happen? Probably
that will be the same as if it happens here. If you have no guarantee that someone from this room will run, that's what you do at normal GA as well. People who have voting rights can still run for positions. Some people have huge networks, some people have tiny networks. That's just how it is.
2005?
Thank you. With Christoph's proposal. Thank you. Your proposal indicated that you wanted the board to find us a candidate to vote for at PM.
No, that was actually just describing how we usually do it.
Right.
When we sort of initiate recruitment processes, then the board and the election committee gets together and we decide, okay, this is how we should publish the position. This is what the deadline will be. That we decide with the board. And then the election committee interviews, checks references, and so on. And then, well, it was sort of, I was trying to describe the normal process, but I should just have stopped and then following the normal process. But the election committee, the election itself takes place at the president's meeting.
Yeah, so normal clean.
Business as usual, except where the voting is taking place.
Since we have three alternatives now, I was wondering if we could possibly do it as we would do if there were three candidates for one position, that we first elect and then the least popular gets taken out, and then...
I can explain the process afterwards. We are going to first vote on the two different suggestions. Then we're going to take the winning suggestion against the statutes.
Okay.
So we have a cup. We start by the suggestions and then take it against the statutes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is a general comments. I think it's important to keep in mind that the LLM
We were just accepting questions now.
Just questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have a question? Okay. No. 15.
How does the situation differ from when the head of business relations sat down last year, except from the actual position?
Well, I was not included in that process, so I can't comment on a specific case, if that's what you're wondering, but the difference is not. All of the members of the management is one part of the union, so regardless of who resigns, the rules will be the same.
Yes. So then I hope everyone is clear on what we're working on. We have 2 suggestions. The difference between the suggestions are where the decision is made. All right? Yes. Every other part of these 2 suggestions are the same. So what you guys are going to decide on now is if you want the decision to be made at the president meeting or at the board meeting.
What you're deciding now is which of the 2 options you would like to vote over.
Yeah.
Because
Which one of
both
them?
of these are not in regards to the statutes. So regardless of which one we move forward with, it will need a 2/3 majority to be passed. So if we now take the 2 up against each other and one gets 51%, one gets 49%, we still have to take 2 votes, and if that still does not get 2/3 majority, the process will be as usual, which is the board gets to elect someone until October.
Yeah. You're anyway going to do this in two votes. So first, you have to vote on the suggestion you like the most of the 2 different suggestions. Then we take the winning suggestion against the statutes. So first, president's meeting against the board meeting.
Question.
A question?
Could you just quickly do it in Norwegian so we just fully understand?
I can do it in Norwegian. Det eneste forskjellen mellom de 2 forslagene som kommer inn, altså det ene forslaget som kommer fra styret, og det andre som har kommet fra Kristoff, hvor avgjørelser til slutt blir tatt. Så nå i første runde så skal vi stemme over hvilket forslag vi liker best. Vi bestemmer ingenting i denne runden, vi bare bestemmer hvem av forslagene vi skal ta opp mot vedtektene. Altså, hvem forslagene liker vi best, og så i neste runde så skal vi bestemme om vi skal endre på den praksis som egentlig beskrevet i vedtektene. Det flere spørsmål?
Yeah, I just think it's important to specify because you keep saying that one of the options is making the decision at a president's meeting. Does that mean making the decision at a meeting with all the presidents of the academic associations? Because that's only a part of the student union. So that means that the societies, projects, they don't actually get a say in the whole process.
That's correct. It's the president of the academic associations.
I just wanted to state that all the presidents are there and all of the students of BI are being represented by their presidents, the presidents they have voted for. So it's not like we don't want some students to vote. We, as presidents, represent at the LLM all of the students at BI. Yeah, we have the most votes in the SBIO too.
The reason that elections held outside of the GA is done at linjeledermøtet, president's meeting for the academic associations, and not including the staff functions, projects, etc. It's by law, BI has to have student democracy, which is why in the GA as well, the academic association has more votes than the other parts of SBIO. So they are the ruling part of this GA regardless.
Also, one more question. Yeah, first, it's not particular.
Just clarified. If we do it at the president's meeting, the president who represents the students will vote. If we do it in the board, none of the students, no, the presidents or nor the associations will have a vote.
I would just like to comment that the president's meeting does represent all students, but we're going into a time period, and I already know have already been told that several of the presidents will not be able to attend our meeting in May, and therefore not all students will be represented if the election is held then.
Don't they need to send a representative to the president's meeting then? Especially if it's one where we have to vote for a new president?
That is true, but that's not always possible.
Now it's a lot. We can continue the discussion. Yeah.
Can
Yeah,
we
okay.
just vote now? No point in discussion the option question.
We take the last question really fast. Okay, 10 to 2010.
So the president's meeting is already an indirect democracy, and the board is elected by the indirect democracy, which means that the board itself is another indirect democracy. You have already chosen the people for the students, so every student is still represented.
I think
in the board meeting.
We have to just take the questions now. Do you have a comment or a question? You have a comment. Is there any other questions to these two suggestions? No. Is okay, just to check the General Assembly, how many do you want to speak now? And I am not letting you. How many do you still want to have a comment in this discussion? 1? 2? Okay, then I will allow these 2 comments. And by allowing that, I also set a definite line of any more comments. I will allow 2 replies on those 2 comments. Yes? Is this okay for the General Assembly? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, then we do it like this. First, 2010.
I can't hear you. If you're talking to me, I can hear you, but you should talk to everyone.
Yeah,
That's it.
I talked to some of the presidents, and some of the presidents are first years, like myself, and not everyone has people in the board that are in second or third year, and they have like exams right after the business meeting and exams for 10. So from my side, it's not easy for everyone to like find another person there for their class.
I replied 2003 and 2006. 3003?
I thought it said in the mail we get that we have to send a representative if we can't attend. I think that we should, the fact that the management hasn't been strict enough to that is their problem. But I think that we should send a representative. If the president can't come, they should send a representative that represents their students. That's another topic of discussion.
3006.
Yeah, I agree. I think why people can't go to the first meeting is because we didn't know that we were supposed to choose a president for school. The game is changed, and if we send out a new invitation, probably a lot of more presidents will be able to come, even though we have an exam the day after.
The last comment of the debate, number 8.
Right, I just have to address multiple questions here. If you are afraid that the president's meeting will not represent the student body, and or if you're afraid that people will not show up, you have the possibility to guarantee that it will represent everyone and that everyone must be there. You have the possibility, according to the statutes, to call an extraordinary General Assembly, and then it will not be able to start if you're not there, and it will represent all of you. So if you're afraid, then put forward the motion for extraordinary General Assembly. But then we won't have a new president up until at the earliest end of June, perhaps, because it takes time to organize an extraordinary General Assembly. Yeah.
reply to 3,000.
Is it possible to do an extraordinary president's meeting where people have to attend, like they usually have to, even though they don't always? That's the question.
Lina, sorry.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Then we are done with this debate. And I'm going to ask the difficult question. Are anyone not sure of what we're working on now? I think everyone is clear. In this first round, you have to make your decision. You have not the possibility to not take a stand in this question. You have to choose either one of the options. And you can start the voting on the system, on your phone or your computer now. We're missing 2 votes. So if you're the next door man, the seat man, is sleeping, this is a good time to wake up and make him vote.
$1,023.
While they are at counting, I have to, there was something I forgot under the last election. We will not elect any more people, but I will ask the General Assembly if it's okay to open up for more candidates to deputy represent to Welfare Council, the same council that Sondre and Jonas was elected to earlier. Is it okay for the General Assembly to open up for more election at the Academic Association's meeting, President's meeting?
Not only deputies, but also representatives if needed.
Okay, yeah. Is anyone against doing this? Transferring the possibility of electing more representatives for the Welfare Council? Not? It's okay? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Super! Okay, after the first round, the suggestion that came from the board has fallen, and the suggestion about electing on the presidents of academic associations meeting has gone through to the next round. Now there is another difference between what's done today and what the suggestion says. Today, the board can choose a person to the next GA. In the statutes, the board choose a person to the next GA. In the other suggestion, the presidents of academic associations chooses a person to the end of the period, all the way out to 2018. Does everyone understand that?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it possible to ask a question, just
Yes.
to clarify? Will the next General Assembly, if the board will get the decision, will the president chosen there be chosen from that General Assembly to 31st of 12th next period, or to just to the end of that period?
There will be on the General Assembly in the fall, it will be an election for the president for the next year, but also president for the last time of the period. So the last few months of this period will have an extraordinary.
Two separate elections?
Yes. Another question?
Just when is the next General Assembly? So how long will the SBIO go without?
With the statutes, the board will set a president until the next GA. So SBIO will have a president after the board has set one, but it's only temporary until the next GA. Okay? Yeah. Is everyone ready for the next vote?
Yes.
Yes? Then, is the system ready? Yes? You can take up your phones or computers and vote.
There's still 4 remaining.
Okay. Yes. We have one more optional agenda post. I will ask the General Assembly if there are any more agenda. Okay? There's more. Okay, then we take it afterwards. Okay, then the suggestion from okay. Yeah. Then the suggestion from Christoph has been voted yes. So the election will be at the president of academic associations meeting until the end of the period. Then the next,
one more. Let me see. All right, so then our next request is that if someone within the management applies to the position as president and gets elected, then we would like for the General Assembly to let the President's meeting take the decision of filling the spot of the one in the management who has gotten elected as president. Does that make sense? Okay.
in other words, the same as you already did if one in the management was to be president.
We would like to avoid any situation of having to have an extraordinary General Assembly if one of these will become the president. We would like to not have to call into an extraordinary General Assembly to elect a new person for their current position. So we would like to move that to the president's meeting.
And that's the same as the last suggestion to the end of the period. So,
yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there any questions? Yeah.
Yes. Will that election be on the next president meeting? Given that we have to have time.
Yeah.
And when is that?
29%.
Any other questions? Anyone who wants to debate it? No? Then we just have to go to the same vote as we are almost the same. We can do it by hand. Okay. Are everyone ready? We're not going to do it by the hand. Yes. Okay. Those who are in favor of this suggestion of doing it this way instead of the statutes can show it by showing your sheet now. Against? And those who have not made up your mind, then the vote is to do it the same way as we already did on the last vote. 1, 2, 3. Okay, then the last.
I want to suggest that we vote the first election of the new representative of the board as invalid on the grounds that we didn't have time to think of questions and think about the situation before we decided.
Okay, is that possible? Yeah, you have to, we can take it up as a vote. You have to have 2/3 of the voting to make that happen. All of those in, are you ready first off? Are you ready? Yeah.
I can justify if that's necessary, why I want it, like, yeah.
That won't be necessary. All those in favor of making the first election of student representative invalid, show of voting sign now. Against? And those who have not made up your mind, and the election stand as follows. Do you have a question or?
Yeah, I have something I want to say.
Yeah.
I just want to say to the General Assembly that it's very easy. Like, I've been here 3 times, and it's very easy to follow under the you vote yes or you vote what everybody says. But sometimes you actually, I know we voted for them, but sometimes you have to question what they vote for, because I don't have anything against you. I'm sure you're going to do a great job. I'm just saying that a person who stands there is going to be on the board of SBIO that says that he doesn't have experience. Yeah, that's alarming in my head. That's all I want to say. Don't be like sheep, just say yes and vote like everybody else does. Like, think about what you're voting for. And you're not voting only about yourself. You're voting for your students, like all of your students. So that's what I want to point out. Like, don't be sheep. Don't just say yes because you want to go home. Just, you're here, you have a responsibility, and just think about it. Think about what they say and what this means to SBIO.
Thank you. I'm going to ask one last time. Is there anyone else who has?
Am I allowed to speak on Alon's behalf?
Yes, but he has to decide that.
Alon plays himself down quite a bit. I think I can say with great confidence that he's the one person in here, maybe except from the current board, who has the best experience and most experience with that type of strategic changes. He says he's not experienced because he's not fully educated and he has not seen a process through yet. But from the many of you that I know, no one has done the job, strategic changing job that Alon is doing now.
And the General Assembly was still wanting Adam as a board member. Ina, do you want to say something? Or yeah.
I think it's very important as well to keep in mind that what is regulated in the statutes is what the board members should do, and not which specific types of positions that you will have had to be in the board. It's not up specifically to this GA to decide which positions you should have had to have the competence to be in the board. There has been a lot of different competence into the board and a variety of different positions that they have had before entering the board. And it's not the position that you've had that teaches you what you should know to be in the board. It's also not stated in the statutes which positions within SBIO you should have had before entering the management as well. There has been first-year students in the management that have done an amazing job. That's not regulated in the statutes. What's regulated in the statutes is what they should do, and that the election committee interviews candidates and evaluates their competence based on the things they put forward. They do reference checks, and then they nominate to the GA. If you want to have it regulated, which kind of specific experience you want on the board, that has to go into the statutes. And I very much do not recommend that you go for that, just so that's on the table.
Hello? Just a short answer. I didn't say that I didn't have experience, because I have quite a bit of experience for my tenure, you can call that, but I'm not an expert. That's what I said. Two different things.
The last comment here. 2023.
I think for next time when we vote something, the organizer can prepare a short, like JD for the position, the job requirement for that position, and then a short, like a very brief introduction about the one, like, just you have a short, just presentation, and really I cannot hear clearly.
I think we will.
I just want to defend my comment.
Okay. The last one, and the line is set.
I want to go home too, but I'm not saying you're not going to do a good job. I'm just saying that when it comes to the board and the president of the management, we, the General Assembly, need to be aware and listen to what they're saying. And I'm sure you're going to do a good job, but I needed to hear it from you and not from Eirik when you were standing there that you were going to do a good job, that we could trust you of the board of trustees. That's what it's called that. And I'm just saying, I just didn't have time to ask you the question, and that's my problem. I don't have any problem with you. Thank you.
Yes, then the General Assembly can close. But Julia can do the honors. Before I step down to the bench, thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
I'm gonna be fairly quick with you guys. I just have a few pointers that I would like to go through before we're closing the General Assembly off. So everyone will be silent and not pack their things for a couple more minutes. I'll be very happy. First thing first, how the General Assembly works is that we send out the agenda for the General Assembly 2 weeks in advance. That's the time when you're supposed to read the documents and prepare to be able to have the set grounds for making the decisions that you are. The General Assembly is not for educating, it's for making the decision. So it's your responsibility as members as SBIO to read up in advance in advance of the General Assembly, and I'm also happy to answer any question in advance of the General Assembly, of which has been stated in every single email. So just to clarify. Additionally, I would like to say that the position for president will be posted very shortly, and you will also receive an email from me with more information about the process. And lastly, this General Assembly is fairly special because we have quite a few student representatives as of the current board, of which are closing off their period. They've been sitting for 18 months. So with that, we have Emil, Daniel, and Emilia here, of which are all stepping down. So I'd like for them to just quickly get up, please. They've been sitting for, you can sit down. I know you're awkward, very awkward. No, they've been sitting for 18 months in the board and also have been in SBIO for years and years. So it's with great honor that I've been able to sit in the board with you, and I wish you the very best of luck going forward. And thank you for today's General Assembly. I wish you all best of luck with your exams. Thank you. Please hand in your voting cards down here.
Nå kan du gå hjem og sove, Audun. Ja? Ja? Jeg skal sove, jeg skal drømme om så mye.